Hello, welcome to another episode of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition live forum. I am your host, David Dadekian, a small business owner here in Rhode Island. I own Eat Drink Rhode Island, and it's great to be with you again this week. We have a slightly different show this week. Unfortunately, our guest, Mayor Policina of Johnston, had an emergency and wasn't able to make it. So we've got a small business. It's more of a nonprofit. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But before I get into that, I wanted to talk to you a bit about the coalition. We're really trying to ramp up membership. We're doing a lot of great things with the coalition, with the portal to get more information and more usability and more features for the members out there. So I wanted to make sure everyone out there knew about that. And if you want to join, you go to rismallbusiness.org. You could sign up right there on the website. There's obviously you're on the Facebook page right now, so please follow the Facebook page for updates and things of that nature. But you can also find the Small Business Coalition on Twitter and Instagram, things of that nature. So the portal, I mentioned that. This is something that the coalition board has been working on for some time now, especially thanks to Chris, our fearless leader at Trailblaze Marketing, and his intrepid guy Sam there working on this portal. We're really trying to do this is create a small business portal for the entire community of Rhode Island, not regions, not specific to any small business, but any small business. We want to be able to use it to connect all the small businesses together, but also connect small business to the government, a lot of other organizations out there like chambers and things of that nature, and make Rhode Island a better small business friendly state. We all know there are folks out there that see some of these stats and statistics, and sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not so great. But the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition really wants to try and make this the best place for small business in New England, if not the country and the world, of course, eventually. So I just want to remind you again, we'll put the website up there on the screen so you can see it, but we'll also link it up in the Facebook down there. It's rismallbusiness.org. You could sign up there. We have bi-weekly meetings on Zoom at 5 p.m. on Mondays. They're on hold for a couple weeks as we wind down the summer and get this portal open, but those should be starting again after Labor Day. So sign up on the website, rismallbusiness.org. You'll get the newsletter emailed to you. You'll know when the meetings are happening. You'll see the portal as it comes out and all sorts of great things that are happening, including the show, which I'm very happy to host. It's been a great experience so far. We've had a lot of great guests on. As you may know, if you've watched the show previously, it tends to focus on elected officials and people in the government that can help small business. Hopefully, we try to maintain communications with everyone in our government across the state and also at the municipal levels where possible, to try and make this the best small business state in the country, as I mentioned before. Today, like I said, unfortunately, our guest couldn't be with us, but definitely in 2 weeks, barring an emergency, because it does happen with elected officials. We know that is the case. If we had a show yesterday, obviously a hurricane would have affected us. But in 2 weeks, we have Senator Sheldon Whitehouse coming on noon on Tuesday, September 7th. So make sure you check out that. Again, if you sign up on the smallbusiness.org, you'll get a notice for that. You could send in your questions ahead of time for Senator Whitehouse, and you could always leave the questions live on Facebook, like right now as we're watching it. And please, if you have questions for today's guest, who I'm going to introduce in a second, you can put those into the Facebook chat, and we'll ask them of Tina. Tina Pedersen runs R.A.M.P, which stands for, I looked this up earlier. I want to make sure. Real Access Motivates Progress. Real Access Motivates Progress. It is a small business dedicated to making everything accessible to people with disabilities. And Tina, it would be great to have you on.
Hi, welcome. I'm so excited to be on with you today. This is exciting.
Thank you for coming. I want to point out, and we're to definitely talk about R.A.M.P and what R.A.M.P does so that people can know more about it. But the main reason we're having you on is you're doing an event for small businesses in a few weeks. And so I really want to make sure that small businesses out there know it's a free event. It's about accessibility, as I mentioned, which is what your focus is. And I think, for me, from my realm of working in food and drink, we've met before, and we've had conversations about accessibility to restaurants and things of that nature, food trucks and things of that nature. It's just, it's a no-brainer. You're inviting more customers in every time you make accessibility a priority. So I think it's important, not simply for equity and things of that nature, Obviously, that's very important. But also, it's good business, right?
Absolutely.
Tell us a little. Yeah, tell us a little bit about R.A.M.P. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, R.A.M.P is a nonprofit. We're a 501c3. We're all about teaching businesses and event leaders and food trucks and everybody about accessibility and inclusion and how affordable it really is. Because when most people think about accessibility and ADA compliance, they automatically send their brains to thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. That is not the case. I just did a roll through for the oldest library in Providence, and the first words out of their mouth were, "This is going to cost us between $50,000 and $100,000 to make this compliant." They spent less than $1,000, $800 to be exact.
Wow.
And I can get to every room in the building. That's all we want. Well, we'd like you to be completely ADA compliant. Absolutely. That's the end goal. But our goal is get us in the front door this year. Get us into your bathrooms by next year. Start working slowly to raise your bottom line, because the more customers you let in, the more your bottom line is going to be raised. With COVID, I think of COVID as being, in a way, a blessing, because everybody got a small glimpse of what the disability community deals with. You were isolated. You can't go into your favorite restaurant. You couldn't go to your family and friends' homes. You hated that. We hate that too. Now that the world is opening up, take us with you. Now that we have our favorite sandwich or favorite grocery store or favorite place that we've been ordering from, we want to go now and visit you and give you more of our business. So we're doing this to help you, not hurt you.
Exactly. Right. No, that's fantastic. And it's a great analogy. It's a great point that, the pandemic should open more folks' eyes to that. It's more than an inconvenience. It really is a problem that needs to be solved. And like you said, it should be better for business.
Right.
So tell us about this event you've got coming up at the Steel Yard on September 18th. It's please, you go right ahead. I can talk about it, but I'm sure you can do it better than I.
This event was going to be a small event that has turned into something that is so amazing. Everybody that's going to be at this event, we're so engaged of the cause and why we're doing this. Everybody volunteered, from our DJ to our MC to our vendors to our food trucks. Every single person that's going to be at this event working it is a volunteer donating their skills and their time to show other businesses how important this problem is really going to be. It is a free event, and it is open to businesses, event leaders, any kind of venue, even food trucks. I know we had this long conversation once that even simple accommodations that you can make in a food truck to help somebody in a wheelchair order or receive their food, where it's not going to be like dropped down into their lap from those high windows. Small accommodations that cost you next to nothing could make all the difference in the world to somebody who wants to, give you more business. So it is a free event. It's also going to be, all of our elected officials are going to be there, from the governor right down to state councilors, representatives and everything are going to be there. So you're going to be able to interact and talk to the entire Rhode Island delegation, the governor, the lieutenant governor. They all 100% back this event. Not only are they backing the event, they're going to tell you ways of getting tax breaks to become ADA compliant or to start the process. They're going to have grant matching for people who want to become accessible. So they're going to help you. They want to walk businesses through every step of the way. And we come out and we will assess your business free of charge. So what do you have to lose? A few hours of your time. You can learn how to hire some incredible employees. You can get some artwork from all of the artists, able and disabled artists that will be there. You can learn about all of the tax breaks of how to get more customers in. And you can visit with this amazing community that you're missing out on because you're not accessible. So there's nothing to lose, but everything to gain. Because what people don't realize is 26% of our population has a disability. That's 1 in 4 people has a disability in this country. Now you add all of the people who are 65 and older who happen to use a walker, cane, or wheelchair, either temporarily or permanently. They're going to be, by 2030, 50% of our population. So if you're not talking about accessibility now or starting to make the change to be accessible, you could possibly be alienating 50% of Rhode Island from your business. What business wants to do that?
Absolutely. No, thank you very much. I kind of knew going into this, like, I could just turn the show over to you and let you talk because you're very passionate about it, understandably. And I appreciate that. And you keep bringing it back to these points that it is good business. I mean, obviously other issues that are involved, but it is good business. And I think it's an excellent point. For people to know that there are programs out there that can help with some of these costs and allow you to make your place more accessible, ADA compliant. Eventually, is the ultimate goal, obviously, for everything. But you're right. I mean, there's all these funds out there that are usable for these types of things. So I think that's a great point, and it's great to know that you'll be able to share that with the small business community at your event there on the 18th. So can you name some? You mentioned all these folks are volunteering free. Can you name them? Give them a little plugs because they're all small businesses I know that are helping out and volunteering.
Absolutely. I mean, first off, we have the Steel Yard. The Steel Yard is an artist haven where you can go and learn how to do from blacksmithing to woodworking to ceramics to jewelry. And I worked with them in 2019 to make every single one of their stations wheelchair compliant. So you could roll around the entire Steel Yard and do every section and try out new things and new crafts. So they have volunteered. We have our MC. His name is Tyler Hittner. He has meningitis, and now he utilizes a walker for the rest of his life. So that's who. But he's going to be our MC for the day. We have Huey Lincoln, who works for Troop. He's going to be our DJ for the afternoon. Oakley's Home Access is going to be bringing a lot of one-step ramps or suitcase ramps, as you call them, or different kinds of ramps that you can utilize for your business. We have Sunnyside on the Street food truck that's going to be there. We got clam cake and chowder food truck, and the name is escaping me right now, and I apologize, but it's on our website. But we have like AARP that is part of this. Perspectives Corporation is part of this. Bike On is part of this. But there are so many local businesses. We're going to have business owners who are fully compliant. The process that they went to. Like there's one, Anthony Santuri, who owns Free Play Bar and Arcade downtown Providence. He never thought that his bar could be ADA compliant and wheelchair accessible. I mean, they have video games in there. He's like, how can I make this? He spent very little money to move a video game here, change the doorways the way they open here, lower this part of the bar over here. And he opened a second location in Worcester. And he had so many clients that came out of the woodwork that he didn't know about. When they built Worcester, they built it from the ground up, fully accessible, because he saw the compliancy and what it meant to be fully compliant. Like they do an LBG Pride night on Monday nights over there. They had 4 drag queens come out of the woodwork that all utilize wheelchairs that now could participate on those Monday night special events that they never knew about. A lot of businesses will say to me, we don't have a lot of wheelchairs in here. Well, did you ever ask why? If you're not accessible, why would they come here? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's the whole thing about it. Like you look at Newport and all of Thames Street, they all have that inevitable one step, a small little suitcase ramp that costs about $200. You could let wheelchairs in, knee scooters, baby carriages, and the people who just had knee back surgery, that can't do that lift right now. You know what I mean? So it utilizes so many different people. And wouldn't you want your grandmother in a walker utilizing a ramp instead of trying to maneuver up a step with her walker? It's just legally, you're probably opening yourself up to more lawsuits if somebody fell than if you would be just to get a $200 ramp, and that could solve all of your problems.
No, that's an excellent point. On the legal side of it, first, again, bringing it back to small business, that's a very, very valid point. So thank you with that. And yeah, like you said, it can be as easy as moving things around and making doorways more accessible, things of that nature. Yeah, sure, there are other costs involved, sometimes, but for the most part, it's a simple start, and I love that you go in and give people advice and try and get them to change their layout and everything to work for that. Because yeah, I think the drag queens is a great example. I mean, you don't know sometimes until you make that accessible, and then you find more customers, and that's really what everyone needs, in this case. So they need more customers. So I see we've got a couple questions on Facebook there. Let's start with we've got a question from Mark. All right. Mark asks if you can you describe some of the tax incentives and/or tax credits?
Yeah, some of the federal funds that had come over to Rhode Island is just set aside for being ADA compliant and helping small businesses. So there's kind of a grant matching kind of thing. But there's also a 50% tax break depending on where your business falls into, how many employees you have and whatever. You can get up to a 50% tax break each year to become ADA compliant. So you could do your front door this year and your bathrooms next year, and by 2030 be fully ADA compliant, but doing it in increments. There's also on top of that a 10% federal tax break that you could earn up to for any small businesses. But the best thing that you could do is have us come down, because we could probably tell you things like, I was just talking to somebody before the show. It's a matter of changing her door from swinging in to swinging out, gives you that extra room in your bathroom. How much does a couple of hinges cost to change your door from swinging in to swinging out? Or moving your tables over. We all know what the differences was between, tables for COVID. So making a few spaces in your restaurant or place to have a little bit more distance so wheelchairs can get through. It's simple things like that could make all of the difference in the world to some people. We made a business fully ADA compliant just before the world closed in 2020. And the gentleman called me 2 months later and he says, I don't see a lot of wheelchairs coming through here. I said, well, number one, we're not a gang. We're not a group. We don't roll around like a motorcycle gang. I said, but did you get one or two? And he says, oh, absolutely. I said, did they come with other people? He said, oh, they came with like 4 or 5 other people. I said, did you make back the $200 that you invested to, make your front door accessible? He goes, oh, absolutely. And the first customer we made. So I said, was it worth it? He said, yes. And that's what it's all about. Right. It's seeing the value of why it's so important to do this. We've had some of our community hired out. I have people in wheelchairs working at Home Depot, helping them stock shelves and everything. We can do that. I built my own home in 2020, swinging a sledgehammer from my motorized wheelchair, doing the floors, painting ceilings. So just because we're in wheelchairs or we use mobility devices, don't count us out. There is a lot of us that are fully functional that, can be an asset to your business or your company.
Absolutely. No, and I think, that's amazing that you did that work, Tina. I mean, I do that work at home. It beats me up. I don't love doing it. But it's fascinating. The other day I was listening to a story on the radio about the Paralympics. And, the different words and terms, they're used instead of, disabled, because it really isn't. It's just, it's differently abled, really, in many cases, because obviously there are many things that Paralympians do that many able people such as myself would never even dream of doing. Right. So it's amazing sometimes when, and I think we all know this to some degree, and in all our lives, whoever we are, that sometimes something that causes a drawback or change in our lives can sometimes be obviously a challenge, but also can be a new way of opening more new things up. So I think it's fantastic that you have that drive. I wanted to talk about being a nonprofit. Obviously, you need to raise funds, you grants and things of that nature. But the services you provide to businesses to help them out and tell them the ways that they can become more accessible and eventually ADA compliant. Are those any costs for those?
No, actually, we're all about breaking barriers. So the first barrier that we break is everything that we do is free. No one can ever say that they can't afford to learn about accessibility. So we will come out, we will do roll-throughs, we will go to your employee meetings, and we'll train your employees how to interact with the disabled community. Here's the kicker. What we ask for is, if you like what we do and we benefited your business, make a donation in an amount you think you can afford. We've had businesses donate $20 to over $1,000 to our cause, but it's all on what you can afford per the size of your business. I have one business that gives me 10% of every disabled person that comes into his place, because he found it so impressive how much business he brought in. Look at the Andrea in Misquamicut. When I went out and I was on Channel 10 saying about their Moby mats that they put out where you could actually go on the beach, they tripled their business, and it's been steady ever since. Who doesn't want to triple their business just by being accessible? because
Exactly.
people now have places to go to make memories with family and friends, to bring their older relatives, to bring their disabled relatives, and have a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I wanted you to, tell people out there it is free. If you need help, if you need someone to tell you how to change your business to be more accessible, contact R.A.M.P. It is free. Tina, tell us, the website and all the ways to contact you.
Our website is www.rampisnclusion.com. You can register right there for our Accessibility is Beautiful event. Come down and visit us and learn more and all you can. But you can also hear about our Red Bag initiative that's carrying all of your medical information on you at all times. That's non-tech based, and all of the services that we provide. And like I said, there is no judgment. We will come by, and if you can't give us a donation right now, we're okay with that. We'd rather you be accessible and open your doors to more people. You could be a sponsor of ours. If you're a bigger business and you believe in this, you could become a sponsor of ours and be put out on all of our social media. I do a live podcast every Wednesday night that is national. That is not just here in the state of Rhode Island. That is all over the country. So you can be on my podcast as a guest. That, again, is free of charge. We want to get the resources. We want to get the businesses that are accessible. We want to get the tourism out there in Rhode Island. We're a beautiful ocean state. Let's make it accessible, and let's bring in more people so everybody can make more money. Like I said, the Andrea tripled their business and been steady ever since.
Right. No, I think that was a great example. I remember seeing the story a little while ago. It really is a great example. And it's also, it points out to, like you mentioned before, it's not simply people in wheelchairs. A lot of people have other, walkers, canes, whatever it may be, or even, people that are, temporarily on crutches. You want to be able to be accessible to folks like that. So I think, it's really nice to see changes like that happen. Looks like we have a nice comment from Kimberly in the Facebook there. I wanted to see if we could get that on the screen.
I can't see.
Yeah, here we go. It's just Kimberly Bogosian. I just wanted to say good job, Tina, which is great. I think that's nice.
Like I said, we enjoy so much what we do, because what people don't realize is I've only been in a wheelchair for 7 years. I literally walked into a very minor 10-minute surgery and suffered a spinal stroke. Woke up with no use of feeling my legs. I had to learn how to navigate the world from a wheelchair, and it stunted my life, not because I couldn't deal with being in the wheelchair, because I couldn't get into places. I couldn't go out dancing anymore. I couldn't go out and have a drink with my friends. I couldn't enjoy the beach anymore. So anybody could end up in this amazing community, whether temporarily or permanently. Let's make the world accessible.
Right. No, absolutely true. I'm glad you told your story, because I think that's a very valuable point for people to hear. It's not something anyone expects. It can happen, and we want to be able to have that accessibility available to anyone that it does happen to.
Yeah, like my friend Alfred in Cranston went in for a spinal block in November, and I know he's very well known on all of this. He owned a restaurant for many, many years in Cranston, and he went in for a spinal block, and he's now paralyzed from the waist down. So that's how quickly something could happen. You know what I mean? So let's be accessible. Let's make sure that all of these people are not missing out on even more of their life because of the tragedy that happened to them. Let's make their lives worth living, because we're amazing people. And you want to meet all of us.
Well said. Thank you. Kim's comment also included a sort of a push for more Braille out there in the community. I know that's not really your realm, but I think, again, it's something that people should think about. I think small businesses could really benefit from using Braille and things of that nature. And she also asked here, Kimberly Bogosian also asked, can this be accessible to churches? Do you work with churches or places like that?
Yep. Everything that is open to the public should be accessible. We've worked with a lot of churches. I mean, if they're old historic churches, there is no such thing as grandfathered in. Let's get that out of the way right now. Right. Nobody is grandfathered in. Everybody should be accessible. Even the historic value. Yes, we're not going to drill into, 1,000-year-old marble, but there are other ways that you can become accessible. And on the Braille piece, do you know it's not that much more expensive when you're ordering menus to order one or two in Braille? It is reliable. It's only up to a $10 difference in charge. But how independent are you giving somebody that can read their own menu and doesn't have to have somebody sit there and read it to them? Exactly. Giving them that independence, you have now made a customer for life, because they can now order for themselves and they can be independent at your place of a business. So even Braille menus and stuff, it's not that much harder. Every printer has a way of doing it. So all you have to do is ask.
No, it's an excellent point. I think, we all can understand feeling comfortable somewhere, and when you get that feeling of not being welcome, not intentional by any means, but if it can happen, and therefore if you feel comfortable, if you feel welcome to spot, you're going to want to go back to that place and give that place more business. I think that's just human nature.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing that we want to say is I truly don't believe in my heart of hearts that anybody is inaccessible maliciously. They just don't know, or they don't know somebody in this business. So let us come out and teach you. Let us come out and teach your staff how to interact with the disabled community, how to act properly, who to talk to, who to listen to, how to interact, and make that experience even more, because making a personal home for our friends and family, like when there's all the power outages, what could you do? You could go to a friend's house or whatever. We can't do that because if they're not wheelchair accessible, I can't get in. So the only outlet that we have to meet with our family and friends is public spaces, events, restaurants, businesses. If you're making it accessible, you're helping us live our lives to the fullest and make memories with family and friends. We want to help you do that. We want to do it in the most affordable way, non-invasive way that we can make you have more money.
Well, thank you, Tina. That's very well said. I think we should leave it right there because that was so very well said. I think we'll just point out to everyone again, rampisinclusion.com is the website. On that website, you'll find information to sign up and to get, if you want to get Tina and her crew to check out your place and make it accessible. That's where you go, rampisinclusion.com. There's also a link there on that website to the Eventbrite where you can register for the free event on September 18th at the Steelyard, which sounds like a blast.
And I just want to say that event is going to go on regardless. We're going to have a mask mandate because we are dealing with a lot of people who are immune compromised, whether they're vaccinated or not. We are dealing with the disabled community, but wear a mask. 95% of it is outside. So come join, dance with us, listen to your fellow elected officials and your governor, and talk to them about what you need to make this possible in your business, and we will make it happen for you.
Thank you very much, Shane. I appreciate that. Speaking of elected officials, I just want to plug one more time that we're going to have Senator Sheldon Whitehouse on this show in 2 weeks. We've also got Mayor Hopkins from Cranston coming up. Hopefully, Mayor Policina from Johnston will be able to join us eventually. And Speaker Shikarchi will be joining us in the future as well. So we've got a lot of great guests coming up. I really appreciate you taking the time today, Tina, for filling in at the last minute. It's very helpful for you to do that for us. Thank you. Any last words? Anything else you want to add?
No, I just hope to see everybody at Accessibility is Beautiful, because you have nothing to lose and everything to gain just by showing up for a couple of hours.
Thank you, Tina. All right, so that's our show again. We really appreciate it. I don't know where a half hour flies by. That was a great conversation with Tina. I hope all of you out there enjoyed that, and I hope you check out rampisinclusion.com and help get your business more customers. I mean, all the rest of it is wonderful and heartwarming and helpful. But, for us at the small business community, we want to get people more customers, to get people into your businesses. So why not do that with some more accessibility? And check out rismallbusiness.org. Sign up there to join the coalition. We'd love to have more members. The more small businesses we are across the state of Rhode Island, the stronger we'll be. And you'll be able to see the eventual portal will be coming, and you'll get the newsletter. So sign up there. Join us at our 5 p.m. meetings when they start back up in September. And in the meantime, I guess, this is our last broadcast before September 7th, before Labor Day. So enjoy the rest of August, enjoy the summer out there, and check out rismallbusiness.org. Thank you.